Hello, everyone. Happy heat wave number 50 to those who celebrate. Happy Tuesday to everyone else. Lucky bastards. Okay. Hello, everyone. Hello, Arctic on YouTube Arctic this time around. Code Crunch and Blurry Squire, and Stream Elements who decided to show up for work today. Also, hello, Jester. Okay. It's time for ODIN. Beautiful language. Beautiful language. Beautiful language. I have to say, I am liking it. I am enjoying it. I think, good job. Hello, Brahim. Hello, everyone. All right, so let's talk about ODIN so far. Yesterday, I implemented a half-functional version of, I was gonna say of ODIN. That would be impressive if I did that on a random fucking Monday evening. No, a half-functional version of 2048. That was not the intention initially. I wanted to do something with audio, which today I want to do more of. All of it using ODIN. But yeah, yesterday I made a 2048 with... I find it so hard to speak while there's music playing. But anyway, let me just... Alright, first off, the music is shit. I don't know what's going on with that. I'll have to explain it in a second. But the plan behind the project wasn't really to do 2048. It was to do essentially a kind of dynamic music sound system that I would like to use in games. Really, all it is just a dynamic mixer that chooses between different audio clips that are supposed to go well together. That's the part that's not working, by the way. That are supposed to go well together depending on some factors that it learns from the game, right? Since it's in the engine, it can learn what the game is doing and what's happening in it, and based on that, make decisions on what music to play, what sounds to play, what to do. You could really take this, depending on how much control over the sound engine you have, you can do different things. Like, for example, here I can choose different volumes, I can choose which tracks to play, but I don't really have control over anything else besides that. A more advanced version of this, you could have control over, for example, the BPM, so the speed at which the music plays. You can make it more or less intense based on that, on the intensity of the current game. Again, it's not really something that Raylib exposes in its music system, so that's not really a thing that I could have even considered doing. So instead what I did is I have 4 tracks, a chill and intense lead track, a kick and snare. The kick always plays, so there's always a little bit of rhythm to the music. The snare only plays if the gesterity, which you obviously know what that is. Everyone knows what a gesterity is. is over 0.5, and the music plays the chill version if the intensity of the current game is under 0.5, and if it's above, it plays the intense version. Again, you could make a more complex system just by playing around with this. It's really just an eval function that runs every few seconds whenever the audio tracks are supposed to loop. Before it loops them, it decides which audio tracks should play the next loop based on these rules. I mapped the intensity to how many occupied tiles there are in the game for 2048, and the dexterity to the highest number that you have in. Although it's 2048, in which the numbers increase by definition of the game exponentially. And I made it so that it's when the dexterity, so when the numbers are above 0.5. And of course, we normalize a number between 2 and 2048 by just dividing by 2048. Which means that the only time that the snare plays is when you have a tile of 1024 in the game. Bit dumb. I did not think about this at the time. I only realized it earlier when I was playing the game. I realized this was happening. Oh well. Hello, Goldfish and Peter. Hello, everyone. Why is everyone in YouTube today? Usually everyone's over on Twitch. Anyway, yeah, so I did that. This is not really gonna turn into anything in this current version. I just wanted to experiment how much control does Raylib give me over sound? And I have to say, not a whole lot. Not as much as I would like, not as much as I would need. Like I said, even something as how quickly the tracks play is something that I would like to have control over. Now, BPM is not something you can easily control in just an exported sound file like this, but it is something you should be able to control to a certain extent. But Raylib internally uses mini audio. Is that the name of it? Mini audio, which I looked and technically should allow me a lot more control over what kind of audio I play if I get really, really low level generate sounds, even. Which is the same level that my operating system can handle when it comes to audio. So, not bad, not bad. Of course, whatever library I end up choosing to build an audio engine out of, it's only for the cross-platform. The important part is that it has more or less the same features that my operating system has, because that's the main platform that I usually target, that I want to target with my code. So yeah, maybe today I want to check out mini audio, unless it is like an absolutely pedantic, annoying, horrible library. No offense. This is just very, very common, so I've been hurt before, okay? Mini audio, don't take it personally. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. There is also SDL. Maybe I want to check out what SDL is like. Not necessarily for audio, but just in general, because it is an alternative to Raylib. Now, right now, I'm not using Raylib in my cross-platform code. I used to. Now I'm using GLFW, which is good, I guess. It's not bad. It's just a little bit... It is low level, which usually is something that is welcome. The issue is that I am already building an entire operating system. And what I want is for my applications that I build for my operating system to also work elsewhere. So I want a library that, but I also need to have a lot of control over what I do, right? So I need a library that hits a good spot between the two. GLFW, yeah, okay, I've gotten it to work. I still need to do a little bit of setup to do proper windowing, like to handle windows correctly, which, for example, Raylib does that stuff for me. Very sane defaults type of thing. However, Raylib also uses GLFW internally. I lose control when it comes to Raylib over, for example, the color format that I use. And the color format that I use in my code is weird because I use not RGBA, but ABGR. Whereas Raylib, for example, tends to use ARGB. So the alpha channel first, then red, then green, then blue is what Raylib uses. I use alpha, blue, green, red. GLFW allows me to customize this, so technically this can be customized on both Raylib and in just bare GLFW. But is it a GLFW thing or is it a OpenGL thing? I don't remember, but the point is, technically the possibility to customize this is in both platforms, but it's not really exposed through Raylib, so I don't really get control over it. Maybe I can hack it together to get it to work, but when I tried doing this the first time, it wasn't amazing. I had to essentially manually invert all the colors. That's not great. So yeah, I would like to have... the lovely perfect thing would be something like Raylib or SDL that hits a sweet spot between how much control it gives me and how many defaults it provides me. Because the defaults that Raylib has are great, but if I ever don't want one of those, I don't really have control over it to change it, as far as I can tell. As far as I can tell. Its defaults are great, but its non-defaults are not, or when you don't want the default, it can be a little hard to talk to the underlying library that Raylib uses. So I switched directly to using that. Even with audio, technically I have the ability to generate raw audio packets. I have that ability with mini audio, but Raylib doesn't expose it, so I don't really have that ability. Unless I patch Raylib, which I can do, because I have my own fork of Raylib, but it's not really necessary. Also, my own fork of Raylib has a fix for BMP, which is also not from Raylib, it's from the STB library. But yeah, I do speak Spanish, yes. I can drop a bit of code that uses SDL. How different are SDL 2 and 3, by the way? And does anyone have any recommendations for, is 3 a bad way to go, so stick to 2? 3 makes a lot of improvements over 2, they're pretty much the same. Either way, do drop some code, because that is the important part. ODIN is this programming language, very similar to C, but genuinely lovely to work with. It feels like a modern version of C. It has better types, it has lambdas, it has some pretty nice ergonomics, some pretty nice way of doing things. Its syntax is very well designed. There's a lot of things that I think like genuinely great. Like every symbol in the language has an explanation. Even though I was told that the symbol for pointer is this one. This symbol, because it's pointy. Alright, so there is a design decision behind everything, even though it has a little bit of whimsy, okay? And we like whimsy. But yeah, like the design of this language is great. Like, for example, I don't want to use this as an example. Let me use a different one. Okay, here. Here we have a variable declaration called has1. And I'm using this symbol to assign to it an initial value of false. Not bad, right? Okay. However, I could also do this as well, okay. Actually, somebody was asking, why are they using this symbol? Which, by the way, this is how you used to do assignments in, correct me if I'm wrong, Pascal and Fortran? One of those two at the very least. If somebody knows, please let me know. I remember we did it in college. I just don't remember which one it was. But I guess back then they were differentiating between an assignment and I don't know. I don't know. By the way, I don't know why we did it in college. I'm not 700 years old, just to make that clear. My professor was just really, really fucking something. Pascal Fortran, holy unk. See what I mean? See what I mean? Yo, three stream streak. Ginger Bill is a fan of Pascal. Okay, so it's Pascal. Nice. Yeah, I don't know why we did Pascal in college. That was a thing that we did. Then again, the first class that we had, my professor was significantly older than everyone else in the room. Just walked in and sat down in a random chair. No, this was outside of the classroom, before we were in the classroom, which was closed. He just sat around us as we were talking, and then introduced himself as the professor, walked us into the class, and said that he was listening to our conversations when we were out there talking, and that he found it weird that people were saying stuff like, where is this guy? Where's the professor? Why is he not here? That was our first impression of this man. And after that, he made us do Pascal. By the way, we were apparently very insulting in calling him this guy or the professor or asking where he was because he was literally late. Well, he wasn't late. He was actually early. He was just doing some weird fucking power play on us or something. I don't even know what the fuck he was doing, but this man was... I don't fucking know. This conversation has gone way off the rails. I'm so sorry. I was supposed to be... I just realized I was explaining the syntax. I've gone way off the rails. He likes to watch. Yeah. Hello, Ice Dave. All right, my point with this is that this is a type that is being declared here with has1 as its name and an implicit type of Boolean. Implicit because of the usage of the word false here. However, this syntax is not just a random thing that Ginger Bill, the creator of ODIN, chose. It makes sense, because if I wanted to explicitly define the type, I would just... keep in mind that this is a ligature font, so it puts these two symbols together into like a penis without a head or something. But really it's two different symbols. But what I can do is I put the symbol in here, in between them. So now the syntax makes a lot of sense. There's no explicit symbol, so you have this. Yeah, ligatures, honestly, I'm not even like explicitly made the choice to use them. It's just something that this theme in Z has. Let me switch to another theme just to quickly show what I... it's actually not the theme. You imagine programming the fucking Pip-Boy over here? Jesus Christ, fuck no. Well, where's my theme? There we go. Oh, there's a soft version of my theme. No. Let's keep this one. Anyway, yeah, I know some people like ligature, some people don't. I'm enjoying them. Okay, they're fine. I can easily understand what's going on here. Also, here, I can easily understand what's happening. here I can easily understand what's happening. But for example, where can it be a problem? This is not a greater or equal. This is supposed to be just a greater. Wait, which one of the symbols am I supposed to delete? The first one or the second one? That was the wrong one. This one. So there it can be a little bit confusing, but genuinely, you waste 2 seconds if you get it wrong. It's fine. It's fine. In strings encode... Oh, strings are a different story. Does it do any sort of strings, by the way? Yeah. I'm used to them and I honestly don't notice them. But I saw some guy on Twitter that was very passionate about them. He was going on and on and on and on and on. And I was on a plane and I didn't have internet, and his thread was pretty much the only thing I had access to, so I read the whole thing because I had nothing better to do. Then they activated the internet, so didn't last too long. They do look a little bit out of place, but they're fine. I've been keeping my mouth shut, but I cannot stay quiet any longer. You've been watching 3 streams in a row, so you're allowed to. The IDE is Z. A little bit vibecoded, but we hate it. Anyway, ligature aside, which can I even turn off ligatures? Like, that should be a thing, right? That changed nothing. Oh, for the terminal text. Okay, so how do I change the font of the editor? Because changing the theme doesn't change the font. And changing the font doesn't change the font. Unless I missed one of these options. Oh, this is for the terminal only. Oh, here, okay. It just... Z being Z, fucking went down to the last option, because that's obviously what I wanted, right? Alright, let's switch to... Can you switch to one that doesn't have ligatures, for the love of God? Okay. There. Ooh, that's ugly. Anyway, now you can see it a little bit clearer, right? That this is just a declaration without a type. So you go in here and you put the type explicitly. The language is full of things like these. It looks even more penis-like. Oh yeah, actually. A little bit crooked, but yeah. Alright, let's go back to a reasonable font, even if it has ligatures. I'm sorry if you don't like it. Why does it... Oh, it defaults to the last one because it's called font. Because the terminal gets its own font section, but the buffer does not. The AI agent accidentally deleted the font setting. Oh, I am 100% convinced. Did it not change? I am 100% convinced that there is a local LLM inside of my Z fucking things up. Do you notice how half of these don't even change? There's no change between these fonts. There's no change between these fonts. They're the same one. Somehow. Anyway, this one will do. Obfuscated code. Boom. Obfuscated my code. Is that Claude? Shit, I'm not used to this zoom thing. Where is he? Look at Claude over here. The fuck is Claude doing there, man? Imagine you walk by someone's desk at work and their code looks like this. Self-insert. Okay. As much as I would love to keep this font, I should probably write some code, right? So It does look windingy. I'm not sure how to pronounce that word, but yes. I know what you mean. Fond. Fond. I'm fond of it. Uh, none of these fonts are even slightly beautiful, except for this one and the default one. By the way, all of them seem to have ligatures. Unless I can change them somehow. What was that about local? Oh, okay. You kept my SSH connection for some reason. Security through obscurity. Except it's only obscure on your machine. Because of course, the second you read it everywhere else, it's gonna look completely normal. But to you, it's gonna be real fucking obscure. You have the wrong code at box circle triangle pencil plain envelope. Oh shit. My bad. Oh no, this is the terminal font. This is how the Egyptians used to code, by the way, the ancient Egyptians. This is how Cleopatra wrote her code. So, yeah, this is Odin. As you can tell, incredible language. Isn't it beautiful? Beautiful language. Syntax could be improved a little bit. I don't know that I would have gone for box, asterisk, plain envelope, comma. I don't think I would have done that. I personally not a fan of that specific choice, right? But besides that, the language is doing pretty good. All right. So, yeah. No joke. The language has really good syntax. That kind of thing. You can tell that every decision behind the code makes sense. Again, the choice of putting these symbols, it's just a default for this thing. Very good. Very nice. Same thing is happening here, but I have to admit, I don't really know what goes here. What do we put here in between? I have no idea. And of course, not everything follows this rule. Here, for example, we have a return type. Here we don't. Luckily, we don't just have a random arrow. That's not a thing. No, return value goes here. Which is another very common thing that languages tend to have. By the way, yesterday, somebody mentioned that Ginger Bill did an interview on why there is no increment by 1, which is, by the way, a thing that a lot of languages do. And I want to understand the logic behind it. Okay, why are there no plus plus or minus minus operators? Pre-increment and post-increment and the decrement equivalents look simple but are complex. They require knowledge of the evaluation order and can lead to subtle bugs. Why do I feel like I looked at this exact thing before on stream? You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Right, because this is a thing that I genuinely ask myself, despite writing C almost every day, to not say every day, this is a thing that I genuinely forget to ask myself sometimes. Or like ask myself sometimes, let's say that I have an I8 pointer. This is C code, right? So ignore that I'm writing it in Odin. Pointer that points somewhere. 0, whatever, doesn't matter. Points to a random address in memory, right? Minus 34, of course. And you're doing this. What are you incrementing here? Are you incrementing the pointer so you go 1 byte further after you read the value? Or are you reading the value and then incrementing by 1? This is something that I myself still forget sometimes, and genuinely right now couldn't tell you which one you're doing. So I get where you're going with that. I get where you're going with that, Ginger Bill. You have a point. You have a point. Although it's very easy to make it implicit. I mean explicit. Because I do think it's a genuinely useful operator. But I get why languages do this. At the same time though, a lot of languages will allow you to write this code, this exact code. And some languages will do their own variation. I can also do this code in ODIN. I can do this code in Swift. Do we know the order that these operations are going to be executed in every language that allows me to do this operation? Do we know that? I'm gonna go with no. What is bidmass? Merry Bidmas. We wish you a Merry Bidmas. We wish you a Merry Bidmas. Is that Pedmas? Sounds horrible. I've heard of PEMDAS, but not PEBDMAS. PEDMAS, yes. That sounds almost bad. Okay, that's a typo, thank God. Brackets, indices, division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. Brackets being parentheses. Okay, so bidmas is just the British version of PEMDAS. Okay, got it. Because it's parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. And then it's brackets, indices, division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. Same thing, different way of saying it. Okay. I'd never heard of it, but you would assume that's the way that it's done, right? Can you be sure though? What if a compiler does it left to right? What if a compiler does it right to left? Personally, my compiler does not do this at all because this code will translate one-to-one to C, and my compiler does not produce executable, it produces C. So C handles that. But can you be sure that if you compile that C code with GCC and Clang and TinyC, and can filc just directly compile it? Filc, can you be sure that all compilers do it the same way? Some compilers do it left to right. And the point is you don't really know. Then you have languages like Lisp. Shameless plug for Lisp. It's gonna make this very explicit. I'm doing it wrong. I'm doing it wrong. Makes it very explicit. You resolve innermost first, then outermost. Right, so that is just one way that you can have ambiguity. And I haven't really seen any of these people that are like, well, we removed the increment operator because it can lead to ambiguity. I've never seen them trying to solve that. Granted, you can trust that the compiler is being reasonable about the way that it does math, but you don't really know. And also, it can lead to subtle bugs because you need to understand how the compiler does it, or how the math rule is done. Sure, it's useful to understand that, but if you forget it, it can still lead you to bugs. So it's really just you just have to choose at which point you want to stop being, what code did I change here? I just set a semicolon. At which point you want something to be explicit, whereas you want it to be implicit. And a lot of languages have decided that increments are too much implicitness. Recommending me some resources to use to, not for an OS, and compiler. Building one pretty much is the only way that I know how to do it. That's just how I tackle every issue. I want to learn how to do this thing. how do I do this thing? Break it down into parts, and maybe Google those. Like, how do I build a parser for a compiler? How do I build a semantic analysis? How is semantic analysis done in a compiler? Eventually, you get to the point that you're able to do it by just understanding the theory of it, at least having a very simple, naive approach, which is a good start. Why did my stream finish on YouTube? Oh, because that's Alt Tab. Never mind. I gotta be sure. Hello, Dulce. So yeah, I believe the best way to learn to do these things is to just get started on making one. Where am I from? I live in Spain. I'm Venezuelan Italian. Half and half. Okay, so that is my opinion of Odin so far. Very nice language. A very intentional and well-designed syntax. I wonder how many hours Bill has spent in front of his computer just like this. Simply designing the damn thing. Not writing a single line of code, a single definition, a single nothing. Just sitting there like... Or late at night in bed, laying there like this. Thinking about the syntax of his language. I just know this has happened. Because it's happened to me. And I've not designed a language nearly as well as this one. Now, this reminds me of Rust. Oh no, the Rust developers also did the same thing. Except they were thinking of how to design the worst language possible. So... using caret for pointers is a crime against humanity. Look, I don't mind it, and when people told me that it was because pointers are pointy, I thought, yeah. Besides the obvious pun in the name, yeah. But also, then I got to this specific line of code right here. This is XOR condition, XOR condition, exclusive OR. One value is true, but not the other. That's what meets this condition. I don't know how to write it. Because normally, I would use this symbol. Now I don't know what symbol to use. Maybe I can still use that one, I don't know. Actually, let me wonder. That symbol, okay. That looks like a no to me. I'm gonna go with no. That's not how you do that. What's wrong with Rust? Have you seen the syntax? Hello, Rocky. Am I a software engineer? I haven't graduated, but yes, technically. Saludos de Mexico. Saludos. Hello. Usually I don't speak Spanish or Italian here, because I want to keep it international. But saludos a mi gente latino. When they had to decide something, the default Rust option is to choose the more painful one. Exactly. Exactly. Rust syntax is just like, why would you do this? Looks so... It doesn't even look corporate. Because there's some languages that look corporate. For example, C#. But C# is an okay language. Okay, it's not... it's fine. And actually, there is one thing that C# does that Odin does, and I'll talk about it in a second. C# is a very corporate language. It was designed by Microsoft, but it's okay. Java is a very corporate language. You can smell the bureaucracy in that language. So is COBOL, but super old. You can also smell the dusty bureaucracy on that one. Rust feels similar, but it's not it's not corporate. It's something else. It's pedantic software engineer. That's what it is. That's what it smells of. Wasn't there a meme where Rust goes like unwrap, unwrap, unwrap? Look, let's create a new one now. Because I can tell you how many times I have seen on like the OS Dev subreddit or like online anywhere, people that are like, here's our operating system made in Rust. And then it goes like this. Every single time it looks like this. Hold on. Does the main function have a return type in Rust? Probably. It has everywhere, but you can skip it sometimes. No, you can do it like this. You can do it like this. Every single time. Every single time. You know that OS Dev. Oh, by the way, when it comes to resources, this can be okay. An okay starting place for operating system development. osdev.wiki or wiki.osdev.org. Though I don't use it a lot, but it is there. Does this not have a main function? To be fair, it is an operating system, so maybe it doesn't have a explicit main function. But where's the entry point to this thing? Oh, kernel main. Okay. Hey, this one isn't explicitly unsafe immediately. However, MMIO write, MMIO read, MMIO write, MMIO read. Guess how they're implemented? Unsafe, unsafe. Sure, it's not in here, but it is still here. Because Rust is not good for true low-level development. It can be good for no engine games. You're making an engine? Yeah, sure. In user space, Rust can work. Outside of user space, why are you using Rust? Everything's gonna be unsafe. When you really need memory safety, I have to use unsafe. Amazing. Allow non-snake case. Oh, I forgot about that one. Allow non-snake case. Does the goddamn thing have a linter? We peaked with C++. You're upside down. That peak is a valley. It's not a valley, it's a pit. It's a pit. That's the word I'm looking for. You're upside down. Turn around. You're Australian. There you go. There you go, yeah. No, we did not peak with C++. Yeah, speaking of which, okay, the last thing. One thing that maybe I wish, maybe Odin does this, if anyone knows, please let me know, is the fact that a lot of languages that have these kinds of imports, which by the way, good, I like it, packages and imports, modules and imports, they're okay. You can alias the import, so instead of using raylib everywhere, I just say RL. But why do I have to say RL everywhere? There's no structure in my code anywhere called music. There's nowhere in my code that I call init audio device or init window. So why do I need to prefix everything with RL? That is very annoying. And C++, I think, C sharp. Have I been saying C++? I would never say anything good about C++. I'm so sorry about that. I meant C sharp. C sharp does namespaces pretty well. In C sharp, right, you do namespace, my namespace. You can even do like my company, my project, my namespace. And then in here you define a public function. And then somewhere else you can do my company dot my project dot my namespace dot function. Assume that it's static, by the way. You can do that, or you can do using. And then function becomes part of the current namespace. It's not actually part of it, doesn't get exported with it, but it is available within it. And if by any chance two namespaces include the same thing, both of them have a function, then you do need to explicitly say which one you're talking about. But then you can alias them. Like this, I believe. And then you specify which one you're talking about. So that is something that C# does pretty well. I can't say that I've seen a lot of these modern languages do it correctly. It's not very common. A lot of them require you to use some sort of prefix to refer to the specific package. Because they're so afraid of collisions, even though you can just fix collisions in the moment. Like if there's two names, if there's something that I'm referencing is defined in two different namespaces, ask me to clarify. But by default, don't require me to explicitly tell you which package everything is located in, because that just makes very ugly code. But I will say, in ODIN, if it wasn't for this specific thing, I could have just copied my raylibc code and it would have worked. So, great. Except for any variable declarations. But like the boilerplate raylib stuff, like init window, window should close, begin drawing, all that stuff. Very simple. Prefixed imports is a standard way. You just have C mentality. I don't think it's C mentality. Because again, I understand the point of namespaces, but at some point, don't make me explicitly tell you where each where everything is located. It should be like, oh, you know, we know exactly. Again, there's only going to be one library in this, one symbol called init window. Because I am not initializing any windows, raylib is. So I know for a fact that the only init window is going to be raylibs. So I would much rather write my code like this. If I ever need to make it explicit, again, because there's two symbols in two different namespaces with the same name, then you do this correctly like this. And I think C# does it well when it comes to this kind of stuff. So I can use namespaces and they work pretty well. All right. The code is more readable and explicit this way. You know where things come from by default. Sure. But again, the explicitness of code is a very arbitrary type of thing. All right, because like, do you know what RL is right now? No, you have to look at it in raylib. You have to go look up here. So, sure, it's more explicit, but it's not fully explicit. You can never be fully explicit, and you have to use your brain a little bit. You have to remember where things come from. And if you want to, like, nothing prevents you from doing it this way also in C#. But it would be nice if this was optional. Then if you choose, in your coding standard is you always prefix namespaces, even if you alias them, fine. You want to be explicit, be explicit. But I cannot not be explicit. When again, the only library here in this code base that can possibly be working with Windows and FPS and audio devices is raylib. So why would I need to specify anything else? Why would I need to tell you explicitly that it's raylib? Or even in some cases where I'm like, here, I'm clearing the background for raylib. What color am I using? Raylib's dark gray. I don't think we need to be this explicit. This should also be understandable, but it doesn't work. Import package or from package import XYZ. JavaScript does it like that too. It's not bad. But again, I think that the way that C# does it is it can work like that. It can work like this. Or it can be just a very simple way of doing it. Dark gray would work? Sure, in this case. But it... No, apparently no. It wouldn't. Right, because I think it might actually be a macro. Oh no, it's not. But it is a struct. It is a color. So it wouldn't work. It does work, for example, in key bindings. Where's the key bindings that I have? Here. Dot left, dot right, dot up, dot down. There it would work. But I don't know. I feel like if you want to be explicit, you should be able to be explicit. But if you want to be implicit, you should also be able to be implicit. And there are ways of solving collisions that way. So there really is no need to put all of these little symbols everywhere for no reason. Do using keyword work with packages in ODIN? I don't know, but I don't think so. That was me writing C# code. I just used the same code base here. Add a separate module and declare a function named random or something, and then at some point be surprised that no. C# handles that. If I have raylibs random and I have my own random and I'm using both namespaces in this file, it will tell me you're using, and I'm using random. It will tell me something like ambiguous usage of random could be either raylib.random or your package.random, specify which one. So that is not, that is a solved issue. I think C# has done this well. And to be honest, when I was developing my language, I stopped right before I did packages. So I never got to implement it my own way. Maybe it's time I pick that shit back up. I did do some bug fixing and some improvements and whatnot recently, since I've been using the same code base to do my Lisp interpreter. And now my Lisp interpreter can also work for metaprogramming. That's a thing that I can do. So maybe I'm gonna do some more language stuff as well eventually. But I have to say, again, this is the one thing that maybe I don't like about ODIN. And one thing that I don't particularly love about modern languages is that they're so scared of ambiguity when you could just create an error. It's fine. Don't need that. Why deal with ambiguous error messages if you can solve... The error message is not ambiguous. It just tells you that it's ambiguous, right? So you can solve it once and for all, but in most cases you don't have this problem, and it just leads to more explicit code that I don't particularly enjoy. I don't like being too explicit if it's not necessary. I like being explicit when it is necessary. Again, design choice. But the way that C# does it, if you want to do explicit, you get to be explicit. If you don't want to be explicit and you don't need to be explicit, you don't have to be explicit. That's a pretty good way of doing it, in my opinion. Prefer libraries that do functions like libname this function. Oh, in C? Yes. Yes, I agree. For example, my code, my language does that pretty much. Struct function. And once I introduce packages, it will be package struct function. Or, prefix in general. No mangling. It's like, that's also how C# does, C++ does it. But like, no. No. Your language, the Lisp one? No. Lisp doesn't have these problems. No, actually, Lisp has these problems. Although I believe Lisp also allows you to do it. Not entirely sure. No, I mean my extension of C, subset of C, intersection of C. A language that kind of intersects with C. How old are you? You're a student? I'm not a student. I dropped out, and I'm 29. So, definitely not a student. Alright. Oh, old glass from coffee here. Then again, I drank that coffee like an hour ago. Okay. So yeah, today I want to check out SDL, maybe mini audio, though I'm not super interested. I am more interested in checking out PopOS because I watched a video on it yesterday, and their desktop environment, though unfinished, looks like what desktop environment customization should be. So I want to look at that. Spoiler alert, customizing something visual through a text file is a stupid way of doing it as a finished product. While you're developing it, it makes sense. I'm also saying this because my desktop is customized through a text file. But you should be able to do it through a visual element, which, by the way, KDE also does. Kind of. It's clunky, but it does it. GNOME? No, they have their own desktop environment now. That's what I want to check out. GNOME I'm very familiar with. Right now I'm using Red Star OS. Alright, so ad break coming up, so might as well start getting set up on a little bit of... Oh, GNOME doesn't have the best customizability. No, but GNOME Hyperland? Why the fuck are you using dot files to customize a desktop? It's a visual thing. You're customizing what it looks like. Why can you not do that in a visual way? This is like the most basic logical UX thing to customizing a desktop environment, and yet barely anyone does it. What's going on? What's going on? So if I hear that somebody does it, I want to check it out. Alright, so I'm going to start setting up it's a Linux thing, yeah. UX and Linux do not go hand in hand. I want to try SDL then. And yes, if anyone has any SDL boilerplate for opening a window and basic stuff, I would appreciate it. And also any insight of whether I should use SDL 2 or 3. Since ODIN, by the way, vendors both. Send some of mine enough topic. Okay, I need to open Discord. Thank you, by the way. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, just gonna download and quit Discord again. Dot files are good. Come on. For customizing something visual, you should be able to do it visually. That's only reasonable. You should not have to customize what your desktop looks like through a file of text. You should be able to do it if you want to, but you shouldn't have to. Hyperland is still under heavy development. Okay. I feel like it should be a priority if your product is just a desktop environment. It's funny as fuck how I'm trying to separate my desktop environment from theirs. Their stinky, barbarian, uncultured desktop environment and my beautiful, perfect, can do no wrong desktop environment. Different things. Tend to use SDL 2 over 3 because of what I've seen. SDL 3 is more of an app framework. Make a struct and set function pointers to app update, render, and stuff. Interesting. I've definitely considered doing an app framework at some point, but I get it. Linux users tend to be power users. Do power users not deserve nice things though? You're again, if you're customizing, ricing the shit out of your Hyperland setup or any other desktop environment, you clearly care about aesthetics. So why can you not just do it visually? It's an aesthetic thing that you're doing. You should be able to do it visually. So yeah, I want to take inspiration from how PopOS is desktop environment does it, which I don't know its name. But this should be a priority when you're designing a desktop environment for Linux. For anything, really. But that should be a thing. You should be able to have control, of course, but you should also be able to do it easily. Um, ODIN's. Right, that's where we're gonna be working. Cosmic is beautiful, but feels finicky. Oh yeah, no, I get that if it feels unfinished, I totally get that. It is unfinished. But I care more about the direction that they're taking things, not so much where they are right now. I'm not even installing, I'm just installing in a virtual machine, so I don't care. I'm gonna probably RM, RF, no preserve root at the end of it. Dot files are a good solution for backing up even if you use a GUI. Yes, but why shouldn't you be able to do that through a program? Again, if done right, you should be able to do it through both a GUI and a dot file, or even a script, or whatever. All right. Sedul.odin. By the way, another thing that Odin has, I feel like, let me not come up with a percentage, but a lot of code bases do not need custom make file systems, build systems. So it's great that you can easily just build everything that has a .odin, that has a package, and as long as one of your files has a main function, this is literally all you need. This in some file, and you're good. Although, is that how you declare a function in Node? No, the fuck it's not. Alright. And also the vendoring of things makes Odin the first cross-platform language that I can think of that actually has a UI framework. Or actually like 3 or 4 because of how many things it has. It vendors GLFW, it vendors Raylib, it vendors SDL. Mini audio is also render. Actually, here we go. Vendors all of these things. OpenGL, Vulkan, zlib, MIDI. What's port MIDI? I don't know what that is. Wasm. I actually wanted to do Wasm. Very interesting. Because if I ever want to participate in another game jam, I realized how much more convenient it is to just have your games in the browser. And you can do Wasm with Raylib. Well, it's a little bit of a separate project, but you can do it. It has curl, DirectX, X11, Lua, Darwin, SDL3, SDL2. All right, so let's see how compatible SDL3 is with SDL2 by just borrowing some code over here. The fuck? Still wrong. Stop opening this computer, brother. Fucking hell. Ugh. Get jump scared every day. Message.txt. Very, very nice name. Alright. Here we go. Oof. Capitals. Oof. That is a lot of boilerplate. Ooh. Okay. Alright. So... Alright, I don't want to copy your actual code, just your boilerplate. So... This we can keep, this we can keep, this we can keep, this we can keep. GUI side of your logic simulator, makes sense. Alright, so can we get rid of, what is this? Draw line, render, draw color. Okay, so this, I believe, is just UI customization. We don't need that. this, I'm going to consider it to be the same thing. We're just drawing lines here, so we don't want it. So we don't need any of these. And then we're not going to be handling mouse, actually. We're not going to be handling that. I'm already not super liking SDL. Ugly way of doing things. Then again, I just need to write some glue code, and once I have that, I'm good. Okay, so you pull events. Then you have this running thing, which I probably deleted. So we might as well just like return. I don't care about cleaning up any resources here. I can probably get rid of most of this. Canvas focused, mouse click, none of that. Grid size. What does that mean? Grid size, that's interesting. You create a window, you give it a size. Is there a reason why you're getting the window size afterwards? Anyway, it looks like it actually is okay with this code, which I don't think makes sense. I don't... Couldn't be put in a variable. Alright, fair. Now, to be fair, this is actually going to make it easier on things like Mac, which the screen size can be pretty finicky. Alright, so I left everything. I don't care about assertions. Psst. This is not Rust. Alright, so this feels more or less like, you know what, we're also not keeping the window event. We're not resizing windows. Again, that's not a thing that my desktop environment supports in my OS, so it's not something that I support ideologically. Right, anyway. Cdl init, cdl init events, cdl init video. Alright, so let's try to create just a window. If I just do that, right, because obviously this is C code, I will need to translate. I would like to go through it. So we might as well just get rid of everything, just initialize SDL. Alright, maybe I also want to look at a SDL3 init code. SDL rect, canvas rect, and set render clip rect 2. Alright. Alright, so okay, let's see. First off, it can be like this. It is not. I do also want to look at the SDL wikis. No, actually, take me to SDL. Just SDL. Homepage. This was big in the 2000s. Right, so documentation is the wiki. Okay. Examples. Clear. Oh, you're just showing me what it looks like. I thought you were gonna show me what it works like. You can look up functions in the packages section of the ODIN website. I see. Yeah, I figure maybe on ODIN it's just done differently. Alright, let me see this code. Okay. Alright, so it is like that. Oh, requires the results be handled. Okay, so I saw how to handle them. That's how you do that. Then I saw that you're using events and the video. Okay, that didn't work. I see. Wait. Is that how you do flags? That's how you do flags. Interesting. All right. Thank you for the code, by the way. All right. So why would this function need to be like I understand this is an ODIN thing, whereas SDL probably doesn't even know that ODIN wants it to be handled. But this is very weird. It feels weird when it's like SDL init has a return type. It's like, what's the point? By the way, defer. In the old code, you're not quitting, by the way. I'm not sure if you... Just FYI. Not sure if you need it for proper cleanup, but you're not doing that. But in C, you would write it at the end after the main loop, at the while loop. Well, here you can just defer, which defer is so great. Defer is also great. It doesn't work super well in my programming language. I'll need to add it soon. I'll need to get to it. Anywho, I'm going to create a window. Right, so again, implicit typing. Bada bing, bada boom. Sedul. Create window. Title. I'm not making 2048 again. And I cannot be bothered making the music mixer thingy again. So I'm just gonna make a running thing, like the dinosaur type of thing. But it's not gonna be a dinosaur. It's gonna be Jester. Alright, so he's gonna be running over chihuahuas or poops or something. I don't know. I haven't decided. This is interesting. Here we have window position centered, and here we just go directly to the sizes. Are they optional? Are there optional parameters in ODIN? Because if so, very hypocritical to be talking about what is it called? About implicit and explicit. There is, but this is C bindings. There's has default parameters and operator overloading and stuff like that. I don't know. I feel like, hold on, let me look at the code. I feel like that adds oh, interesting. Wait, so the grid that you're using is built into SDL? Because I saw you have some code specifically in Canvas, which I'm assuming is an SDL thing? Or is that your own thing? Because I see here major, minor grid size. Oh, you rendered it yourself. Okay, so this is your code too. I see. All right. Well, to be fair, SDL does prefix everything with SDL. And that wasn't prefix. So that's a pretty good way of knowing that that's not the case. All right, so then we need to create a renderer. Right, so to create the renderer, bada bim, window and renderer accelerated. Interesting. So does it allow non-accelerated rendering too? Shit. Look, SDL code doesn't look like the most beautiful. But I have to say, it might hit the sweet spot that I'm looking for. Perhaps. Perhaps. By the way, we want to defer the destroy window. Um, C APIs can't even have default params without macro tricks. I love that you said without macro tricks because I did that this weekend at some point. I made some. Why did this become? Oh wait, I deleted this for some reason. I did literally that um a few days ago. All right. Oh, you can explicitly break out of specific loops. That's very nice as well. Hello, Snow. Very nice, very nice. All right, so we know the window size. We don't really need to take care of that. So then we have partial switch type. Okay, okay. See, this language has very nice idiomatic ways of doing things. So you use a frame loop. Well, we only have one loop. No, because you can also break out of the you can also break out of the switch statement. But and also the for loop that you put in here as well. But to be fair, I have a return, so I don't really need it. Very nice that you can have that though. The for renderer, yes, that too. Renderer maybe? If I'm deferring destroying a renderer, maybe I should destroy the renderer. Anyway, what's going on here? For E, which is an SDL event. SDL pull event and the event E. I would... Oh, because there's two types. That's why you use the switch here. But no, we're good with just doing e.type equals to quit or window close requested. And we straight up return. That's the good thing of defer. I don't have to break out of the loop in order to defer. I can just, in order to clean everything up, I already, when I created it, already said when it's going to be cleaned up. This is the part that doesn't work well in my language, by the way. I have defer, and it works like this. You can also put it in brackets. But all the deferred code will get put at the end, and it will all run. So if I put a return here, all of these three defers will run, even though this one and this one shouldn't. So that's a thing that I haven't really done correctly. Why did it take me to this page? For bindings for SDL? For eSDL event, and then this thing. Oh, okay. I see the problem. It's a double parenthesis there. Okay. You're returning 0. No, just return. Just return. And then we can do this as well. These three probably should, oh, not like that. Should be enough to do this. And then in the last one, can that work? I see. Okay, that's how you do that. Peak no vibe coding. We don't vibe code here. Absolutely not. All right, and renderer. Okay, interesting that it uses individual colors. It certainly fixes the issue that I have with Raylib. So listen, even though I like the code less, I think this may give me more control than Raylib. So it might just be welcome. Anyway, do we need a build system for this thing? No. Odin, run, period. Oh, that's not good. Isn't it vendored? I could... I would assume vendored means that I don't need to do this part. That's what vendored means to me, but... Interesting. Okay, there we have a pink. So I was wondering about that. RGBA. Okay, so I actually did it right, except this goes here. We may need to copy the dynamic lib from the vendor folder. I just don't see why that would be necessary. If you're vendoring it and you have your own build system in the language. Got a little too eager there with the water. Then why do you need to do that? Oh, fuck's sake. So, interesting, but okay. Again, that's not what vendored means to me. Then again, I don't know. All right. So, we have a very basic window. Now, let's do a slightly better color. Let's do something like... What's that look like? A green. I wasn't going for that. No, let's make them... I want some slight tint, but mostly looks white. That's why... Okay, that's a good color. Right. So... Let's try... Let me find a picture of Jester real quick. Not the one. I mean, maybe the one. Yeah, let's use the one. That's very very large. Oh, that has... Oh, the background crop didn't work like it should have. Okay, let me not use that picture. Let me not use that one. SDL is kind of hard to statically link. Oh. See, static linking is a big deal. It's like 90% of what I want out of this library, so that won't do. That definitely will not do. All right, let me use this picture. I'm trying to find a decent looking picture of Chester that I didn't take where he explicitly looks ugly. There's not a lot. I do it on purpose, to be fair, but still. Chester, why did I make you the protagonist of this game? Damn it. Alright, this is cute. And the easiest way for me to transfer a picture to this computer is to airdrop it to my laptop and then use drive sharing SMB to yank it from my laptop. Local send? Don't worry, I'll be making my own thingy eventually. Though maybe I'll check it out, what the hell. Do I need to have it open on the machine though? Because that kind of defeats the purpose. It looks like it works on iOS and Mac as well. It's just like having to have it open is kind of annoying. Although, well, yeah, to be fair, it's not too difficult. Could be way worse. The dog sleeps like it's exhausted. He is. Well, he's gonna be after the game that we're gonna make right now. Alright, so this is taking forever, genuinely. Oh, and this is the wrong format too. Oh my god, fucking Apple, man, with their HEIC that opens in GIMP. Alright, it's gonna take like 5 hours for me to transfer a picture to my computer, so bear with me. I have to open it in preview, and then I need to export, and then I need to export it with that name, and then also this one, and export it with that name. That's good. Okay. And now explicitly refresh the file manager and image and image2.png. Copy those into, what did I call this project? ODIN SDL. Which I cannot find. Here it is. There we go. Jesus, that took forever. All right. I should have cropped one of them too. This picture is too large. Well, they're both too large, but whatever. All right, so let's see how we can load an image into this thing and render it onto the screen. Okay, so I'm assuming it's going to be sdl.imageLoad and then a C string with the name of it. sdl.image, no, it's imgload. Wait, do I need to use an external? There's no way I need to. There's no way I need to do that, right? It's got metal, pixels, storage, timer. Has timers. Very nice. Mutex. I think QEMU actually uses they ship separately in APT. Oh my god. Image though, it's literally a folder. SDL image, here it is. So it looks like I can just use it. Now, where did you open it? Here. Why did it open in a window that I'm not using? Zed, have you tried coding, like manually? Or with a little bit of logic at the very least? Anyway, that's a very easy way to render C code, by the way. Foreign lib. Anyway, load animation. Hash load to store the image and value. Oh no, we don't need to do that. Load. Convenience function. There it is. File C string. Okay, well, if only Zed had opened it in the buffer that I'm actually working in, that would have been useful. It's called load. Apparently, that's all I need. Wait, hold on. Okay, I can do it like this. Load PNG. There it is. Let's do image.png. And then we're gonna have to display it. Is there actually, how do you do rendering in this thing? Prepare for a jump scare. As soon as I find my downloads folder. Oh, there he is. And now, oh, there's no actual rendering happening here, is there? Well, yeah, render draw line, stuff like that. All right, so let me see. Render image, render debug text. Maybe we want to start with some debug text. Geometry, lines, points, rect. I love the use of maybe, by the way, for optionals. Render texture. That's probably it, yeah. Okay. One thing I hate is that the I was gonna say the SDL, but it's actually the LSP that I mean does not actually give me the function signature once I press enter here. So it's a renderer, a texture, a rect, and the destination rect. Do I really need all that? If you have a texture, you should Control I. Oh, thank you. You know, I didn't know that. Anyway, my renderer is called renderer. My texture is going to be called texture. Of course, I don't have one right now. An frect pointer. All of these are pointers, actually. Frect. Frect. How do you initialize this thing? Is it like this? Is it like this? I have no clue. And the LSP seems to have stopped working because there's nothing called texture. By the way, oh no, it has completely stopped working. Okay. Get texture palette, set texture palette, lock texture, create texture. No. Not quite what I want. Since it's maybe you can skip it. Oh, probably, yeah. All right, let me look it up. SDL texture from image. Destination rect I probably do need, yeah. Is that how you do named parameters? DST rect equals... Again, I understand the syntax, just not great. Load texture. I can just do it like that then. Load texture. I don't see it. Create a texture from a surface. Oh, load PNG returns a surface, okay. From surface with a renderer and my PNG. What is the problem? Don't worry about that. I got you. All right. So yeah, I don't need that one. I do need a destination rect, which that one is not. That is also a pointer. I don't understand why they're pointers. Why do I use pointers here? I do like that you can explicitly define the size though. I'm assuming it's gonna resize my image. Looks like I do need a parameter source rect of type maybe this thing is missing in procedure call. Then why is it maybe? The image is gigantic. So these are rects too. Frect? Now you still want them to be pointers. It's a pure C library, that's why the pointers. So is Raylib. You don't need to use pointers for that one. Doesn't really make sense. Cannot assign value DST rect of type. Oh, this is should be an F rect as well. Okay. That is a stupid way of doing it. I don't know what's happening. I don't know if that's SDL or ODIN or the binding. Undefined reference to SDL load PNG. Fucking hell. So I need to install an entirely different thing to get SDL image. What do you think? SDL image? Why am I searching with sudo? That's not it also. SDL image. This is a joke, right? Look, either this is a joke or the library is a fucking joke. Search for SDL, it should list the image. Oh yeah, that's true. I can grab it maybe. That's a why is it separate? Why is it separate? That's ridiculous. Also, there's no 3 for it. Even though there's 3.4.4 3 months ago. And sure, I could use STB, but why do I need to do that? That's just another dependent. Okay, this is already disqualifying me using an the LSP work, please? STB dot load. I don't know what. Can I look at it? Almost. Almost could look at it. STB/image. Isn't STB as an image library? Load. With an X and a Y and a channels and file and designer channels. By the way, this is resources/image.png. Then I have to specify an X and a Y for some reason. And then do I need the rest of the parameters? Can I make that 0? And the other one 0 as well? Nail to pointers. Okay, that's on me. Very used to C style. Ah, that's how you do. Okay. So then, can I do this? No, of course, because it has SDL create texture. Wasn't there a load texture, by the way? No, I made that up. Create texture. I need to create the texture explicitly, of course. SDL create surface from. All right, now we're talking. Hold on, maybe. Now the width and the height. I need to explicitly tell you the width and the height. Can I do double declarations, by the way? Like W, Y. All right, this is gonna take forever. So let's just load text error proc with a name C string. Do this, this, and that. Boom. W and Y, by the way. Yes, I can do that. Okay, that's very good. Both initialized to 0. Okay, so the height goes here. The width goes here. Then create surface from the width, W, the height, H, the format. RGBA 8888. I hope anyway. The pixels. Boom. And the pitch. The fuck was pitch again? Now everything is failing. The bindings are slightly different. Yeah, that part is... Yeah. Right, the pitch is what I usually call stride. Why do I need to explicitly define it? Like, you already know the width and you already know the format. So calculate it. Everything. Now everything is failing. Okay. Renderer is going to be an STL renderer. Alright, so what's your problem? You don't like that. Oh. Can I do that? Yes. Okay. I thought it would be... I am doing the import for... Oh no, I am not. Are you sure I can do that? This is ridiculous, honestly. But we might as well find out. STL3/image. Then do PNG equal to STL. Well, I actually called it STB. I'll change this name later. Load PNG IO. That's not it. Is it me or did it change the name? Because like the old function that was there is no longer there. Of course you can follow along, no problem. It's very weird. Let me not do that. This is all very weird. Ugh, it's a lot of explicit stuff. Anyway, does that compile? That compiles. We're good. Alright, so let me do texture equal to load texture with the renderer, and the name of it is, by the way, that's a pointer. That's the symbol of a pointer. I'm a little confused why that worked before I made it a pointer, which is the correct way of doing it. Anyway, resources/image.png. Please work, because if it doesn't, I'm done with this library. Like, oh, this is that image. I still don't understand why. Call does not return a value. Yeah, that's true. I'll fix that. And then you return an STL texture. And now everything has errors again. Of type int. So, I32s. Alright, and your problem? Cannot assign of type texture pointer to texture. Yep. My bad. There you go. Could not find the compiled the STB libraries. I mean, yeah, libraries. They can be compiled by running make C. Okay. Oh. I didn't take the next quote. Did I make it a little bit too... Yeah, I did. Okay. Okay. We don't have it on screen. But it doesn't crash. So... That's something, question mark? Alright, so it is more explicit than STB. But... makes it easier for me, so... I do clear right after, yes. So that should go first. Still no. Again, the sizes that I used are wrong, maybe? Can I do texture dot W and the texture dot height and use that here as well. That would be reasonable.